International rights organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have slammed government's decision to pull out of the ICC. However, the Global Center for the Responsibility to Protect says South Africa's decision to withdraw from the Rome Statute and International Criminal Court is a great victory for injustice and impunity.
Executive Director Simon Adams, who heads the New York-based NGO that works to protect populations from crimes against humanity, also rejected the government's argument that its obligations under the Rome Statute brought it into direct conflict with obligations to observe international diplomatic norms and standards that include immunity for visiting for heads of states.
The UN has now confirmed receipt of this letter, indicating they're processing it likely before an official statement is released. Others didn't require as much time to choose their words in reaction to South Africa's decision.
When Rwanda happened in 1994, at the exact same time, of course, that South Africa was going through its transition to democracy, the most commonly said thing to people like me who was living in South Africa in the aftermath of that was the world doesn't care about African victims. The world does not care about this remote corner of the world. So for me, an ICC that takes African victims seriously, that looks at these situations seriously and says that a villager in Darfur or somebody in Burundi or somebody in the Central African Republic has as much right to international justice as somebody living in some rich white Western country, that was a positive step forward.
The government has long argued that at times there's a direct conflict between the pursuit of peace and the pursuit of justice and accountability. Adams believes the arrest of Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir in Johannesburg last year would not have made the situation in Darfur any worse.
I'm not naive enough to think that the arrest of one individual will make all the difference to what is obviously a complex, long-standing and very difficult conflict in somewhere like Darfur. But I do believe very sincerely and deeply that one of the problems in Darfur is a culture of impunity. And we've seen that over the last period where the Sudanese government has been now using chemical weapons against people in Darfur. Why? Because of the climate of impunity that's been created, that he can now travel where he likes. He can travel to Johannesburg, go to the Sandton Mall, do some shopping and not have to worry about the fact that he might end up in handcuffs in The Hague.
He reiterated the point that the ICC remained a court of last resort where domestic jurisdictions were unable to pursue justice, arguing that of the 9 African cases before the court, 6 were referred by governments themselves. Shervin Bryceby's SABC News, New York.